So this week I wanted to try something a bit different. I'm going to call this movie workshop, I think, and this is going to be a thing where I take a movie I don't like or one that I do like but I have some issues with and suggest a few elements that, if changed, would have actually resulted in me liking the movie or enjoying it a bit more. And this is going to be a full spoiler series, by the way. And we're going to do Man of Steel first because people love it when you criticize DC movies. And before starting, I want to make a couple things perfectly clear. Before this movie came out, I was really excited for it. I thought the trailers looked pretty awesome. I knew Nolan was involved somehow, and I knew Zack Snyder, who directed Watchmen and 300, two movies I really liked, was directing. It all seemed pretty cool. And then I walked out of the movie, and I was completely baffled by what I had just watched. Before diving into the things I would change, I want to list off some of the things I liked. The casting of the movie across the board is pretty fantastic. I like the idea that Lois Lane knows Clark is Superman pretty much from minute one. She's an investigative reporter. She shouldn't be fooled by a set of glasses, but whatever. The Krypton sequence at the beginning was also pretty awesome. There are a lot of problems with this movie, but I'm going to focus on three main critiques here. And I think it's important to say up front that none of these ideas in concept are inherently bad. A lot of people make these same criticisms, but the point that is missed by a lot of people is that the problem is not with the ideas themselves, it's in the execution of them and the specifics of how they are handled. Alright, first thing I want to talk about is POC Han. The idea that POC Han is hesitant for young Clark to be using his powers a ton and exposing himself to the world is intriguing, as he's his father, and he wants to protect his kid, right? But maybe stop a little bit short of this.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe.
As I understand it, Superman is meant to inherit a lot of the values he holds from the Kents, right? POC Han's approach should be more nuanced here. He wants Clark to be a good person and a hero, but he doesn't want his abilities known because he's a kid. Maybe have him encourage other forms of heroism, like being a decent person all around or being way more discreet when using his powers. Or maybe the roles are flipped, where a young Clark isn't really interested in saving people. He's more interested in finding out where he's from and what his purpose is, and POC Han gives him advice on potentially being a hero and puts him on that path. That way, Superman actually has an arc, changes from the beginning of the movie to the end. I don't know, it just seems like POC Han comes off as a bit of an asshole in this movie, and I don't think that was the intention. Also, let the superpowered kid save the dog. There's no need to get yourself killed in a tornado. Okay, thing number 2, the hyper-violent ending. And I get that Zack Snyder and co. wanted to go for a realistic take on what a godlike, superpowered alien coming to Earth and fighting would feel like. And having an ending with tons of destruction does not break the movie if the tone is correct and the characters are acting in ways that make sense or in a manner that a hero would. Due to the darker tone, though, the destruction of Metropolis feels more depressing than it should. In addition to this, Superman does not make any visual attempt to curb this violence. Yes, we know from the plot that his actions will ultimately put a stop to terraforming Earth and killing all of humanity, but his individual actions do not reflect that motivation. Compare this to the Battle of New York in the first Avengers movie from the year before. Yes, I'm comparing it to Marvel, sorry kids. But the heroes state their objectives right off the bat. Protect civilians, contain the enemy, and close the portal. All of their actions during the battle are in accordance with those objectives. Destruction happens, but we are told both visually and through dialogue that the heroes are doing everything they can to stop it. And why are they acting in this way?
Because that's what heroes do.
Man of Steel does not make this effort, which is disappointing because it could have been done so easily and it would have made for a more interesting fight scene. Here's how I would have suggested they've done it. Every attack Zod makes is intended to cause as much damage as possible. He punches Superman into buildings and goes for fatal blows, throws cars around and tries to destroy everything. You contrast this with Superman always trying to hit Zod out of the city or into space where they could do no harm to anyone. And every hit he throws is only meant to incapacitate. This would make the fight have a tug-of-war feel where Superman is doing everything in his power to avoid loss of life, while Zod is making it almost impossible to do so. And that'll play into the third element. Alright, part number 3, killing Zod. Again, the idea of having Superman kill Zod as a last resort could have been super effective emotionally. But the issue here is that they did not lay the groundwork to build up to that scene. There needed to be a scene earlier in the movie where Superman refused to kill because he felt it was wrong. Again, comparing to the Avengers, sorry guys, in Age of Ultron, where Vision expresses that he doesn't want to kill Ultron as he is unique.
I don't want to kill Ultron. He's unique. And he's in pain.
Establish that up front. Maybe Superman beats Zod earlier in the movie and allows him to live as he feels it's the right thing to do. That changes the final conflict from can Superman beat Zod? He can, to can Superman subdue Zod without resorting to killing, which is a far more interesting and character-motivated conflict for the climax of the movie. Writing Superman into a situation where he has to kill the only other living Kryptonian should have been tragic, but instead it was just uncomfortable because it's like, okay, so Superman just kills now? We need the film to establish the character does not like killing, which it never bothers to do. So this movie has been talked to death over the last 5 years, but I hope I was able to add something a little bit different to the conversation and a little bit more constructive, maybe. But let me know if you guys liked this at all and want to see more videos like this in the future. Like, share, subscribe if you would like to do so. And I will see you guys next week. Have a good one.